Last night's State of the Union had everything. And so, in fact, so much so that I did get a bingo last night, and I'm still very excited from it. I haven't gone to sleep. I've been staying up celebrating the W. And that the W is of wasting a couple hours of my life with you people, which is always a great time. But last night had everything. I think the most important moments were a couple of things. Joe Biden is a very good liar. I mean, the guy lies well. The way he spun the border bill, the way he made Republicans look silly, to somebody who has no idea what is inside the bill, will actually think that he's correct. That's the most insane part. So he did so well in manipulating people to believe these sort of things, which was just insane. And also last night, there was this moment where this man stood up and started screaming. And I couldn't really hear anything. I heard something like Marine, or something, and I saw him get escorted. Well, there's more to this man's story, and we are going to have it later on. And it's really depressing. And I think it's a perfect example of what the State of the Union and Joe Biden's presidency represents. Also, we found out Joe Biden still cannot pronounce people's names right. Coach Lincoln Riley has passed away. We rest in peace for him. And Senator Katie Britt, Republicans, what were you thinking? That was one of the worst speeches. I kept watching it thinking, this isn't real, right? This isn't real, right? And we're going to have a clip for that coming up as well. And Republicans are going to pretend like that didn't even happen last night. That's the best part. Okay, so let's go through some of the news, what happened. Always check the multiple sources. MSNBC is, of course, gloating. Republicans underestimated Joe Biden. No, we knew he could scream. we knew he could have unhinged moments, and if he was sleeping all day, hocked up on medicine, because towards the end there, it's starting to get a little low, wasn't it? It was starting to get a little low. President Joe Biden's address boomed from beginning to end. He tackled issues large and small, from defending democracy in Ukraine, aka they're not even having elections because it's a wartime, ending junk fees, which is on everyone's mind, not really, sort of, but okay, and tackling shrinkflation. Right, because it's not inflation, it's shrinkflation. It's these damn corporations that are stopping inflation from going away. He was energetic, fast-paced, and dynamic. Fast-paced. Dynamic. He was late. And he didn't even let the Speaker of the House announce him. Whatever. Not only offering a compelling speech, but also single-handedly neutralizing the Republicans' most potent attack against him. Neutralizing, to the untrained eye. And then here's what the Republicans are talking about, something different. Republicans are kind of talking about the fact that Joe Biden purely talked about Trump the entire time. And at a State of the Union, especially after you've been president for multiple years on hand, that seems like the most ridiculous thing ever. Why are you talking about Trump? Talk about your accomplishments. Talk about the State of the Union, But no, it's an election speech because you know what? When nothing great is happening in your administration, point fingers at the other administrations around you or people around you, because, when it's not my fault, it's their fault. And what an easy, childish way to get through life. It's not, the buck doesn't stop with me. The buck stops with you. But the big thing that stood out was the Gold Star dad. This man's son passed away in the Afghanistan withdrawal. Devastating. The thing that no one wants to talk about, the thing that people have forgotten about, is that debacle. And they, of course, with the great things that Democrats do, they point the fingers. Not me. It's you. It's the Republicans. It was Donald Trump. He's the one that negotiated. It's just so ridiculous. Shouting, remember Abby Gate? And he was charged with a misdemeanor. Charged with a misdemeanor. Isn't that incredible? That's the State of the Union right there. Is that Americans are screaming from the rooftops, we have inflation, we don't want to go to wars, we're concerned that we have a president that can't comprehend language or struggles to speak, struggles to walk, and we're kind of afraid. Our cities are being overrun with illegal immigrants who are just taking debit cards, taking hotel rooms, living on the streets, no plan for these people, just which will only create more chaos in the cities. And we're the people that get charged with a misdemeanor. We stand with him in some ways of like, we are screaming while the politicians are clapping, roaring, screaming for 4 more years. That's the perfect example. You're charged with a misdemeanor. They're charged with love. See, this is the point where he's like stood up and said this.
Freedom to be safe. And America is safer today than when I took office. Year before I took office, murder rates went up 30%. 30% they went up. The biggest increase in history. It was then, through my American Rescue Plan, which every American voted against.
I thought it was a Gaza person for a second, but it was not. Devastating. I mean, for being a dad, I mean, can you imagine being a dad and hearing the lies of a president talking about your dead son, that Americans are safe, and you sit there and you just take it in? I'm surprised more didn't come from that. I'm surprised he didn't fight the people and keep screaming. I don't know. But I just can't imagine being a father of a Marine who was killed by a debacle of a withdrawal that is Afghanistan, and then told to just move on while he goes up there and lies. It's insane. But that's a perfect example of what the State of the Union is compared to people like us. And of course, we had Bernie Sanders, who started the event with no mask, and then started when he thought the cameras were going to be on, he put the mask on. That was the weirdest thing in the whole world. It's 2024. We're still doing this. Lincoln Riley passed away, R.I.P. coach. But this was worse than anything Joe Biden did. Let's get a sample of Katie Britt, the thing that Republicans are going to pretend like didn't happen.
We hear you, and we stand with you. I know.
Yes.
You're frustrated.
I'm frustrated.
We hear you.
But it was like that for 17 minutes. 17 minutes. Oh, God, our future is not bright, brah. What the freak? Did anybody vet this person? Did you just take your first speech class? What the freak just happened? But ultimately it boils down, and this is what ABC is talking about, Nightmare Katie Britt. Ultimately it boils down to this, which I think, State of the Union doesn't matter. Because what matters is that Joe Biden has to pull in voters that actually have to care and want to know more and want to feel like he's doing a good job. See, those voters didn't watch last night. They don't care about the State of the Union. They don't care about taking 2 hours of their life to know more about Joe Biden and his plan for the future. They didn't watch. There was other things going on in the world. I know a lot of us don't forget that sometimes, but they didn't watch. And so MSNBC can put out these articles saying he did a great job. You know, Scarborough, all those Morning Joe guys can have their little boner pills of talking about how great Joe Biden did. But it doesn't matter because no one watched. And you start to come to this conclusion that what you're experiencing in life, what you're feeling in life, what you're seeing in life is more true than what you're seeing on TV, especially when it comes to politics. Because you're done with the lies. You know, you can't convince these people anymore, Joe. They've been through your lies. They've heard your lies, and they're done with them. And I hope that's true for so many other politicians, where we as a people group stop just believing what they say, but start actually looking into what they say. Because in that, they maybe will stop lying. But until that happens, they will continue to lie from the podium, twist things up, misrepresent, and then we will continue to point fingers at each other rather than pointing fingers at the real problem that is politicians. all those political heads in there talked about raising taxes. They gonna raise taxes on themselves. Those billionaires, those millionaires in there, even Bernie Sanders himself. Nah, they're different. They're public servants. Have a wonderful day.